let's go ahead and take a look at problem 2 from chapter 2.2, looking at relative frequency and frequency. And so what we see here is we have a table of values, and in this table of values here, they represent the violent crime rates, how many crimes there are in a certain countries. And so these are the violent crimes per 100,000 people. And so again, this is kind of in thousands. So you see these numbers here, they're in raw data form, important to know. And what we're trying to do is create a relative distribution table or frequency distribution, so we can see how the data spread out. And all you need to do is, and it's not easy, but is to count each of these values here and look to see how many of them are between 100 and 199. So there's 5 of them. So you can literally count them and do that and see how many out of this data set are between 100 and 199.9. There should be 5 of those, right? 5 of those. That's what frequency means. And so then you just go ahead and count to see which ones, how many fall within there. Now this idea of classes, that's what this looks like here. If you look carefully, the class, lower class limit is 100. That's where it starts, because the smallest value, if I look carefully, is 120. I see 126. So 100, there are no values less than 100. And you can see we're going to 300, 400, 1300. You can see, and so it seems reasonable to then to organize the data by 100s. And keep in mind, though, that you can do that in many different ways, but a reasonable way would be 100. So you can see how it's broken down where the class widths are 100. Another way to look at that, and so that's where those numbers come from. Relative frequency would then just be the total amount you have divided by each of these frequencies. So like in this case here, it would be 5 divided by the total amount, how many data points we had. Relative frequency is the decimal before a percent. Now another way to think about that would be opening in StatCrunch, so you get the data in StatCrunch. StatCrunch is opened. And now you have the raw data here, and so of course you can do a table frequency, and that's in the first variable. And so then you can see you have those tables there. And so then you can see the thing is, StatCrunch does it their table by 200. And so then that's another important thing to look at as we look at those values from 100 to 200. You can see from 0 to 200, 200 to 400. So StatCrunch breaks it down a little bit different, but you see a total of 51. So that's where it's a little bit different than what you have there. And so, but again, these numbers represent the total number of values between 0 to 200, between 200 to 400, and so forth. And so that's kind of what you're looking at with relative frequency and frequency. StatCrunch doesn't give you the option to kind of choose your widths here. But you could do this later on, which we've learned in 2.2 also as a histogram, if you want to do a histogram of that data. And so we could start that at 100 and have a width of 100. So that's another way to think about it. I'm doing a histogram of that data. Again, this is extra just to kind of explain. Then you can see it there. You can see, notice there's 5 between 100 and 200. Between 200 and 300, there's 15. 10 between 300 and 400. And so then you can see how it matches up. So using the histogram is kind of another way to do it.